So, good day everyone. By the way, this is Manilin Suazo, third year college student of Bachelor of Science in Criminology. So, today I am going to report Chapter 7, the examination of dangerous drugs. So, drug testing is a form of forensic testing. Drug test results issued should be scientifically, legally, and forensically defensible. So, drug identification. When we say drug identification, it is a branch of forensic chemistry that deals with the scientific examination of drugs and volatile substances. So, drug identification is usually conducted by forensic chemist or chemical officer to determine the presence of dangerous drug on submitted specimens. The forensic chemist or chemical officer also conducts drug tests on body fluids or suspected drug pushers and users to determine the presence of dangerous drug metabolites. So, paraphernalia like smoking pipes, toters, and aluminum foil should also be submitted for examination to determine the presence of dangerous drugs. So, forms of dangerous drugs. Drugs are in various forms. This includes tablets, capsules, liquid, powder, brick or discs of marijuana, crushed leaves, and uprooted plants. So, examination of sample taken from the alleged confiscated dangerous drugs. So, there are two methods of examinations. These are qualitative examination and quantitative examination. So, when we say qualitative examination, it is used to detect the presence of a drug in the body. For example, microscopic examinations for cell morphology or presence of parasitic organisms. Serologic procedures for presence or absence of antigens and antibodies. Some microbiological procedures and some molecular techniques. Second is quantitative examination. So when we say quantitative examination, it is a test that can estimate the amount of drug in a specimen. Currently, there are no instant drugs of abuse tests that give estimates of the amount of drug present in the specimen. The only way to get quantitative result is with a laboratory test instrument. For example, you could test for the actual blood alcohol level, so let's move on to the two phases. But before that, there are steps common to qualitative and quantitative methods. So there are 8 steps. First is selection of methods to be used. Second, physical test. Third, sampling. Fourth, sample preparation. Fifth, chemical test. Sixth, confirmatory examination. 7, calculation and interpretation of dates. And last, drawing of conclusion and writing report. So two phases in the examination of the alleged confiscated dangerous drugs. So there are two. First is screening test or preliminary test, also known as the color test. And second is confirmatory test. Screening test or preliminary test. This test is non-specific and preliminary in nature. It is employed to reduce the family or group of drug to a small and manageable number. Screening test includes a series of color tests producing characteristic colors for each family or group of drugs. This is done by adding a specific reagent to a known sample in a spot place. So a screening test is quite simple to perform even by investigators in the field. As a matter of fact, field tests using these techniques are being taught in narcotics investigation courses. Test reagents and basic apparatus are commercially available. Color reactions. So there are different types of color reactions. Upon addition of specific reagents to a sample of dangerous drugs, a specific color reaction is produced, such as cannabis. The quinoise 11 is equals to violet. Fast blue, B salt is equals to purple red. So cocaine. Cobalt thiocyanate test or CT test is equals to blue. Scott test or modified CT test. Reagent 1 is equals to blue. Reagent 2 is equals to pink. And reagent 3 is equals to blue. Wegener test is equals to brown, or a specific test for cocaine. Diazepam. Zimmermann test is equals to reddish purple or pink. Some benzodiazepine derivative do not give color with this test. Hydrochloric acid is equals to yellow. Vitalimurine test is equals to yellow-orange. Opium. Marquis is equals to violet. Ferric sulfate is equals to brownish purple. Mickey is equals to blue to green. Nitric acid is equals to orange to red to yellow. So morphine. Marquis is equals to violet to reddish purple. Codeine. Mickey is equals to blue to green. Nitric acid is equals to orange to yellow. So heroin. Mickey is equals to blue to green. Nitric acid is equals to yellow to green. Delcompagnie test is equals to reddish purple. For barbiturates. Methamphetamine hydrochloride. Simon test is equals to blue. Marquis test is equals to orange to brown. So ecstasy. Simon test is equals to blue. Methaqualone and phencyclidine CT test is equals to blue. Laser guide or LCD Ehrlich is equals to violet. Mescaline or mescaline. Marquis test is equals to orange. Lieberman is equals to black. So note, it must be noted that positive results of these tests are not conclusive, as there are substances that may give same positive color reactions upon addition of the specific reagents. Hence, confirmatory tests must be performed by the forensic chemist or chemical officer on case to establish the presence and identification of dangerous drug. It must also be noted that only those specimens that yielded presumptive positive results are subject to confirmatory tests in order to confirm if the positive result of the screening test is really positive. So, second is confirmatory test. So what is confirmatory test? It is the method employed to confirm the results of the screening or preliminary test. This test involves the application of an analytical procedure to identify the presence of the specific drug or metabolites. This is independent of the screening test and which uses techniques and chemical principles different from that of the initial test in order to ensure reliability and accuracy. So, there are several methods used in the confirmatory test. Some of these methods are chromatography, Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, and validity test for urine specimen. So first, chromatology. It is the process of separating mixtures and comparing the migration of each component with standard. Some chromatographic techniques include gas chromatology, layer chromatography, high pressure liquid chromatography. So example of chromatography is food testing, drug testing, and forensic testing. So what is gas chromatography? So it is a separate technique. The mobile phase is a gas. Separation is based on the difference in migration rates among sample components. Spectroscopy. It is a confirmatory method whereby light is used to identify the sample specimen. Next is for transform infrared spectroscopy. So it is used for the identification of pure organic substances. Identifies organic substances, particularly dangerous drugs and exclusive ingredients based on their characteristics, functional groups. In layman's term, the resulting spectrum could be referred to as the fingerprints of the substances. So ultraviolet visible spectroscopy. It is used for screening of dangerous drugs in urine specimen. So examination of the urine specimen. The rate of excretion from the body depends on the drug's solubility in fat. Water-soluble drugs such as cocaine are excreted quickly, while fat-soluble drugs such as marijuana may take several weeks or months before excretion. So drug tests must be conducted to apprehended individuals who are suspected to be users, and to them who are next is validity test for urine specimen. Validity test is conducted to determine the integrity of the samples. Reasons for conducting validity tests. So in case of unobserved urine, when there is suspicion that the urine specimen has been tampered. So instances when to allow unobserved urine specimen collection. When donor is physically unable to go to the laboratory. When donor is involved in a crime scene. When donor is involved in post-accident trauma. When donor is critically ill. So, different types of tampered urine specimen. So there are 3 types. First is adulterated, second is diluted, and third is substituted. So when we say adulterated, it is a specimen containing either a substance that is not a normal constituent for the type of specimen, or containing an endogenous substance at a concentration that is not a normal psychological concentration. So, second is diluted. It refers to a specimen with less than normal physiological constituents. Third is substituted. A specimen which has been derived through switching or replacement of the original sample. So there are ways to adulterate urine samples. So first is addition of salt, addition of juice, addition of detergent, addition of bleach and other oxidizing adulterants, addition of illicit drugs. So ways to substitute a urine sample. So urine from friends or other persons not using drugs may be used as substitute specimen. Replace a sample with other substance similar to urine in appearance. So ways to dilute a urine specimen. So there are 2, internal dilution and external dilution. So, for example, internal dilution. Intake of plenty of water before collection or drinking or of herbal tea. So when we say external, so na dyan sa sulod. So, for example, kanang mag-inom ta or magkaon ina, di ba? So dayon ang external dilution. Example, addition of water to previously collected urine. So mo ni siya, when you say external, sa gawas na siya. So pag atong magkaunta, so ikalibang ato mo na siya external. So parameters of validity tests. Initial validity test. Physically characteristics such as color, odor, and etc. Volume, temperature, specific gravity, and nitrates. So, confirmatory validity tests. Physically characteristics such as color, odor, volume, temperature, specific gravity, nitrates, creatinine, oxidizing agents. So, other methods of confirmatory validity test. Physically characteristics visually determined. Volume same as physical characteristics. temperature using thermometer, meters calibrated with appropriate buffers, specific gravity, used as refractometer. Criteria in determining tampered urine specimen. So, there are three criteria: adulterated, diluted, and substituted. So, as you can see, these are the criteria in determining tampered urine specimen. For adulterated, pH less than 3 or more than 11. Nitrate more than 500.0 liter. Presence of endogenous or exogenous substances. Example is oxidizing agents. So diluted, SP gravity not less than 1.003, creatinine not less than 1768.0 ml. So substituted, SP gravity not less than 1.003 or more than 1.020. Creatinine less than 442.0 liter. pH is less than 2 or more than 9. So when do we consider a urine specimen as invalid? So a urine specimen is considered invalid under the following circumstances: adulterated, substituted, or diluted, improperly collected, handled, and stored improperly, documented. So that was all about chapter 7, the examination of dangerous drugs.